Hello guys! Today we will be talking about another topic. So we all know that geometry has wide coverage. So for today we'll be discussing about one of the basic concepts in geometry. So there are 11 fundamental properties of addition and multiplication of real numbers. So we have closure property for addition and multiplication, commutative property for addition and multiplication, associative property for addition and multiplication, distributive property, identity property for addition and multiplication, and inverse property for addition and multiplication. So first, we will talk about the closure property for addition. Now, in closure property for addition, remember that if A is an element of real numbers and B is an element of real numbers, then the sum of both of the terms will be real number as well. So what are real numbers? Recall that real numbers are rational or irrational numbers. So here how it goes. So we have here A plus B is an element of real numbers. Okay, so let's substitute it by using a certain number. So 1 plus, let's say, A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 2, then that will be 3. So, from this, 1 is an element of real number, 2 is an element of real number, so their sum will be an element of real number as well. You understand? Okay, so let's proceed. Now, we have here closure property for multiplication. Since we're talking about the same property but with a different operation, because this one will be multiplication again. So we have here A times B, element of real numbers. So again, if A is an element of real numbers and B is an element of real numbers, then the product of both terms will be real number as well. So we're gonna we use the same example. So 1 times 2 is equal to 2. So the product is an element of real number as well. So that is the closure property for multiplication. So how about commutative property for addition? So in commutative property, we have here A plus B is equal to B plus A. What did you notice? So as you can see, it has, similar terms, A and B, but it is here vice versa. So let's say A is equal to 2. How about B? Let's say 3. And this one, we're gonna use the same 3 plus 2. What do you think is the answer? 2 plus 3, of course, 5. And is equal to 5, so it's the same. So that's the commutative property for addition. How about the multiplication? So let's proceed. Number 4. In multiplication, again, we're just going to multiply it. Then it's reverse, or it's vice versa. Okay, so A times B is equal to B times A. So let's use this one. So 2 times 3 is equal to 3 times 2. So the product will be what? It is 6. Okay? So 6 is equal to 6, which is correct. So that's the commutative property for multiplication. So let's proceed. How about the associative property for addition? Okay, so in associative property for addition, here how it goes. We have here A plus B plus C is equal to A plus B, A plus B plus C. Now, that's the concept of associative property for addition. As you can see, there are 3 terms used. So, we're going to substitute a number. Let's say A is equal to 1 plus 2. B is equal to 2. How about C? Let's put here 3. And here, A again is equal to 1 plus b is 2 and plus 3. Okay, 1 plus 2, so we have here 3 plus 3 is equal to 1 plus 5. What is the answer? Okay, it is 6. So that's how associative, what that is, that is associative property for addition. So let's move on. Let's proceed to multiplication. So in associative property for multiplication, we have here A times B times C, A times B plus C. Remember, always remember the concept of each of the property. Because as you can see for, let's say we have here the same property, but the same, different operation. The operation matters, so you must remember that. Okay, we're going to substitute it, use the same example. So 1 times 2 times C3 is equal to 1 times 2 times 3. So 1 times 2 is 2, then 3, then 1 times 6. So it will be the same. The answer will be 6. So that is associative property for multiplication. Let's proceed. The seventh one is the distributive property. Now, what is a distributive property? So in distributive property, we have here A times B plus C. From the word distributive, we're just going to distribute this term here and here. So it will become AB plus AC. Okay? So if we're going to substitute it by a number, so let's say A is equal to 2, let's say B is equal to 3, and C is equal to 5. So that will be 2 times 3 plus 2 times 5. So what will be the answer? So 2 times 3, we have 6 here, plus 2 times 5, 10. Okay, so 60. That's how you're going to come up with the answer for this distributive property. Now let's proceed. Let's move on to identity property for addition. Now, for identity property for addition, so let's move on to number 8. A plus 0 is equal to A. That's the concept for this property. Remember that 0 here is constant and A can be any real numbers. So we're going to use 1 for A plus 0. So the answer will be 1. Any number that will be added to 0 is equivalent to that number itself. So that's identity property for addition. So it is easy, right? Let's move on for multiplication. Number 9. So in multiplication, we're just going to multiply A is a real number by 1. So what do you think the answer? The answer will be A, of course. So let's use that number. 1 times 1 is equal to 1. So any number that will be multiplied by 1, its product will be 1. Okay? Number 10. Number 10 is inverse property for addition. So what is inverse property for addition? In this one, we're going to use, again, A plus negative A. What do you think will be the answer? 0. So this is the concept of the inverse property for addition. So we're going to think of a number, then it's negative 4. So let's say our number will be 2 plus say 2 plus negative 2. Of course, then the answer will be 0. So that is the inverse property for addition. The answer will be always 0. Remember that. Okay, for the last, we have here number 11. Inverse property for multiplication. So in inverse property for multiplication, the concept is a times 1 over a is equal to 1. Okay, let's erase this first. As you can see, there's a fraction here. So what are we going to do? Of course, we're going to think of a number and substitute. Let's say a is equal to 2 times, of course, 1 over, what is a again? 2. So, what will be the answer? 2 times 1, 2, of course, 2 here, and that is 1. So, remember that you need to memorize these fundamental properties of addition and multiplication of real numbers, because this will be conducive for you in proving a statement in geometry. So that ends my discussion, and I hope you have learned a lot for this lesson today. Thank you very much.